to another episode of Learning to Play the Double Bass. I won't go into a lot of detail about sort of my background, it's just that I used to play a lot of other instruments and I've moved from them on to playing the double bass. So this isn't necessarily that helpful if you're learning to play the double bass from scratch, but I hope it's helpful for those that already play the guitar, piano, the normal electric bass. I hope it's helpful for those people. Okay, so double bass. One of the main things you have to get your head around with a double bass, other than the sheer size of the thing, is the fact that it doesn't have any frets. So you have to learn where the notes are. Now there's ways and means of doing that, but I just want to share with you two really simple, quick tips that I've found particularly helpful in overcoming some of the obstacles that you face when you're trying to play in tune, because playing in tune is so important. You just can't kind of get away with being out of tune. It needs to be in tune the best you can. Okay, so the first thing is to use tuning anchors. So, for example, that's an A on the G string. Now we've got another open A, which is an A string. So we can check our tuning with the open A. And I think that's pretty in tune, I think that's pretty good. Okay, so that's the first thing. There's another one here, E. And we can check it with our open E. Again, we've got a G here. And we can check our G tuning on the E string with our open G string. I don't think that's quite right. There we go. I was a little bit sharp on that. Now, some of the notes are a little bit more difficult. So, for example, if you're moving from G to C, now that's a fifth. So basically, it's just the next string up, but you can keep your finger in the same position. But if we want to check our tuning, if we're just hitting a C, and we're not moving from a G, we want to check it against the G, the open G string again. Now that's a fifth. And that's in tune, that sounds pretty good to me. It resonates, feels comfortable, the instrument's not kind of vibrating and resonating in a very kind of, what's the word, dissonant way. It feels really nice. Now what I'll do is I'll play it slightly flat and then slightly sharp, and you'll be able to hear the difference. So that's in tune. I'll play it slightly flat. And I think you can hear that. Certainly stood next to it like I am right now, it feels really uncomfortable, the thing's vibrating, it's not nice at all. And you can very, very quickly know that that's out of tune. So back in tune again. Now I'm going to play it slightly sharp. And again, we get that same kind of discomfort, that dissonance going on. And it sounds really pretty horrible. So that's one tip, is to keep checking your tuning. I was a little bit flat there. So checking your tuning against the open strings when you've got them available, or checking fifths. Some a little bit more tricky than others, but that's kind of the first tip I want to share with you. The second tip I want to share with you is we've got the heel of the neck here where it joins the body. Now here, in guitar terms, that is the 7th fret. So that is a fifth away from our open string. So that G to D, which is a fifth. So that's our 7th fret. So that's very kind of easy and quick to go to. So we'll check that against our open tuning. And that's, there we go. I was a little bit sharp again, but I've kind of hit it with vibrato. So that should be A, and this is E. And obviously there, that's a B. So we're learning more notes as we're going along, and we're checking them in tune. There's a harmonic there as well, obviously on the 7th fret. So you can check your tuning in that way. I was flat hitting that note. So it's a case of checking your tuning, checking your anchors, using harmonics when they're there. I'll go through this in a lot more detail and maybe go into each one in more detail and maybe some exercises around it that hopefully are helpful. And we'll talk about the thumb position and hitting that harmonic there, and I'll show you how to do that as well. So there's lots of tricks you can use on a double bass, I'm learning, to be able to hit the notes you want to hit, to know where you are on the neck in terms of which key you're in, and also checking your tuning against harmonics and the tuning anchors, which are the open strings. Hope this was helpful. Join me again next time. Take care. See you again.